Hey everybody, Luke here. I've got game one of my very first Warhammer tournament ever. I did my best to take pictures and take notes, so we'll see how it goes. It's a 2,400 point tournament. Special characters are allowed, and really they're pretty much no restrictions. Each game was a scenario we didn't know ahead of time that had bonus objectives and deployment rules. And my first opponent is a fantastic Tomb King army. If you're up in Minnesota, John Stenz, you probably know him. He runs a North Star tournament, or he's one of the guys that runs it. He has this Bretonnian-themed Tomb Kings army. It looks gorgeous. Tons of extra modeling and work. He calls it the Lost Crusade, so it's a bunch of Bretonnians. It looks just fantastic. Hopefully you'll see that in the pictures. So here's my army. This scenario we deployed on the diagonal, and the goal was to basically wipe out your opponent's biggest core unit. Now, I was reading the wrong page of the bonus objectives in the beginning. At first I thought the first page of the packet was the first scenario, but at the end, oh no, it was the back page. The idea was you rip it off and hand it in. First tournament, so I was confused. I had thought that holding this haunted tower, this tower is a haunted mansion. I thought that was worth extra points. It's actually not in this scenario. So my trolls that are in the middle there are going to bumble in, but it won't do anything. So my army, check out my practice game. It's the last video I have before this one if you want to know a little more details, but I've got a Night Goblin bus, a Savage Orc bus with a level 4 and a BSB in there, 20 Black Orcs with a Flaming Banner. I've got 2 Manglers to run around and be screened by 2 packs of Wolves with musicians only, 2 Doom Divers and 3 Spear Chuckers for War Machines, a couple of Chariots, and a Ragnarok Spider. That's pretty much what I got going on. So now onto the Tomb Kings. Hopefully you can see this, a little blurry. These guys are just fantastic. At the same time, he's running a fantastically punishing army. He has like 80 skeleton archers in a line with Khalida. Now, if you're not familiar with Tomb Kings, the army of Tomb Kings in general always hit on a 5. It doesn't matter what modifiers, positive or negative, they always hit bow shots on a 5, unless they take the special character Khalida. Khalida allows her unit to hit on 4s all the time. No chance of change. Also gives her poison shots. So already this is going to be rough. He's got this gun line hiding in the back corner, 80 some archers. He's got 2 war sphinxes on each side. Those are the big Bretonnian horses. He's got the flying sphinx in the back, 2 screaming skull catapults, and a what the hell's that thing? Ark of the Covenant. The one that shoots I can't think of the name right now. You know what it is. It does the laser beam thing. Then he's got a group of carrion, you can see by his crotch there, and then 2 groups of skeletal archers that'll scout on. Here's where one scouted right there. So I'm hugging the line as much as I can, and I'm rushing at him. So no animosity problems the first turn. The guys that can come on do. You can see my Night Goblins on the right come on, the Ragnarok comes on, the Doom Diver comes on. Everyone else is just going to move up as much as they can. I've got a green arrow on the left there. Ignore that one right now. That's turn 2. I feel stupidity with my trolls, and they bumble forward into the building. And that's basically it. Just a picture showing the guys coming on and where my Mangler moves. So I'm just going to go right in the forest, and hopefully I can block his War Sphinx there for a little bit so it can't just charge me. The one on the right can't fly there, so hopefully I can get him to at least stand there or overrun for first turn and smash a Mangler through him and into the lines. That's what I'm hoping for there. During Magic, it's 6 dice to 4. I throw 4 dice at foot, just targeting right in the middle of Stomp, and he uses his Dispel Scroll. It was actually a pretty decent roll, so it wasn't a bad call. And then with his dice, he was able to Dispel Hand. I wanted to get Hand off to move my guys closer. My shooting pretty much just fails. I can't get anything to land, and one of the Doom Divers can't shoot, so not much to speak of there. We go to Tomb King turn 1. His skeletal archers that were held in reserves come on here. And everything else just stays put. Even the guy I'm blocking, the War Sphinx, he doesn't need to come out and get those goblins out of the way. We go to Magic, and it is 7 dice to 3. He throws, I think, 4 dice at the Casket of Souls and targets my Ragnarok. And I got to let that go because I'm afraid of Smiting. Smiting's a Tomb King lore spell. It's going to give him double attacks and double shooting. I can't get shot with 2 times the arrows there, so I let it go. It puts 4 wounds on the Ragnarok, and then I was able to Dispel Smiting. So we go to shooting. He shoots here at the Spear Chucka, which I was proxying for the Squig Gaba. Misses completely. And there's a little more shooting from these guys over here, and they miss. And then the big shooting happens. So first his catapult targets my Arachnarok and blows up, which is pretty fantastic for me. His second catapult targets my Arachnarok and only lands 1 wound on the multi-wounder, which is also great. But then the horde opens up. It's something like 69, 70 shots, 15 of which are poison, and when it's all said and done, I ward saved quite a few and lost 12, but I'm still there. My savages are way depleted now, so I have got to get into combat. Everyone else is just moving up. Oh, that was his turn. So now it's my turn. If you'll notice, the last picture of the shooting was after my movement. This is my movement at Orcs and Goblins too. So I try to get my Mangler in the ass of those Night Goblins, and I was just about 2 inches short. I don't think I rolled very well, and I didn't think I needed a really high roll to get there, but my goal was to go through my guys, go through his guys, and just start bouncing down his lines. Couldn't make it, but that would have been fantastic. The spider fails a charge and ends up right there. I tried to charge in. Savages also tried, and they failed and just bumble forward a little bit. And that basically means no one else can really charge in. So I'm going to have to weather more shooting. In the upper left there, those wolves fail animosity and charge right into the Sphinx, so good for them. And this Mangler on this side falls 1 inch short, sadly, and so he's sitting right in front of the carrion. He had taken 2 wounds from shooting on the last phase, I believe, from the skeleton archers. We go to magic. I get foot to go off, and I put it right on Khalida and the big concentration of guys. Kill 14. I think Khalida takes a wound. Maybe she doesn't here. She's good at the end of the phase. But then Gork wanders off, so I didn't get to stomp again. Actually, I think what happened is he missed on the first one. I rolled. I stomped on the second one, killed a bunch, and then he wandered off on the third one. So I didn't get stomped, but I got a little mileage out of it. With my last die, I got Brain Burst off, and that was what put 1 wound on Khalida. You can see she's kind of where that pink arrow is. During shooting, the Doom Diver lands in the middle and kills a couple more. I don't remember how many. And then the other Doom Diver drifts off. The Spear Chuckers really don't do anything. In close combat, my wolves obviously die and break. One of them actually gets away. It's pretty fantastic. We go to Tomb Kings turn 2. I flee from a charge from the Carrion because if he fails, I'm like, well, then he's going to just bump into the Mangler. And I think the Carrion, I don't know what they can do, but they're going to tie up that chariot. And I've got a lot of room to flee there. And that's what happens. He fails and bumps into the Mangler and blows up. The wolves on this side get charged by the Terracauser, and they flee, and then they flee into the back of the Mangler who was over here, and they blow themselves up. So if you don't make the distance and you set it up, it all just goes away for you. During shooting, he puts a rock on the Black Orcs, just right dead center, does 7 wounds, and I only lose 3 because it's not that heavy of a rock. I get my 5-up armor, so that was pretty good. But I'd forgotten to talk about the magic phase. It was 12 dice to 6. Unfortunately, he threw 6 dice at the casket to begin with. I used my Dispel Scroll, and then I saved my other 6 dice, my only 6 dice, for smiting. He threw all 6 at it and got Irresistible Force. Nothing happened in the backlash of note. He got 8 skeletons back from casting, and then that left him with a lot of arrow shots. He had 122 shots on the Black Orcs, 19 of which were poison, 49 other regular hits. When it was all said and done, he deleted that unit completely. And this is where we both made the mistake. I made the mistake, it's on me, but we had both forgot it at the time. I'm immune to psychology because I'm frenzied. And that's like one of the rules I forget all the damn time. And so I panicked. I rolled re-rollable 9s, re-rollable 8s, and I failed. They shouldn't have had to panic anyway, but I panicked from the Black Orcs dying and ran away. So they're fleeing. And that's totally... I don't know how much it would have mattered in the game, but if it was over, it's over at this point. His skeletal archers don't try to shoot at the Spear Chuck anymore. They engage in combat and kill him. And we go to Orcs and Goblins turn 3. So I charge with my everyone I can. It's basically the Arachnarok can get in and the Chariot can, but the Chariot rolls really badly and fails. Didn't even need that much to get in, so he just bumbles forward like an inch or 2. You can see my dudes fleeing here. Yes, they probably should have gotten to combat this turn and just chopped it up. So this is all on me, first tournament, but just kicking myself. And I didn't even realize it till I got home and was looking at these pictures later. It was unbelievable. Let's see what else happened. So I flee through the building, I take a wound. That building's a haunted mansion, so I think it actually put another wound on my guys at the end of the movement phase. My shooting misses, and my chariot actually rallies. In close combat here, I throw my attacks at Khalida because she's the one I'm most afraid at, and I kind of didn't really understand. I figured when you took a lord like Khalida, that was going to be your um, Hierophant at the same time, but his Hierophant is actually on the far right side in this picture. I think maybe going after Khalida was still the right choice, because then I've just mitigated so much of the shooting if the Arachnarok dies. But I throw all of my wounds at her from the Arachnarok. She takes like 3 or 4. The Tomb Guard jumps in the way and takes 1, but Khalida still dies. The curse goes out, does no wounds to the spider, but just from normal close combat, I take, I think, what, 2 or 3 there? And I'm sitting on 1 wound left. I stomp for 4. I end up winning by 8 and crumble quite a bit. But the spider's still there. The goblin's actually got a few hits in now too. Now he's in a spot where his big war sphinx and the flying one can't actually get into combat with me. So I'll have to do really well to crumble. There's still a ton of guys, what, like 30 or 40 dudes left, at least 20. So it's going to be, yeah, with 1 wound left. I'm not too I'm not too hopeful here. I take a wound from the Haunted Mansion on my my toughness 5, 4+ armor chariot. Actually takes a strength 1 wound. My trolls are sitting in the building. You can see them up there at the top because, again, I thought it was an objective. Oh, Tomb Kings turn 3. He charges with the War Sphinx, the War Kitty, and the War Flying Sphinx, whatever they're actually called. My Night Goblins hold. Release the Fanatics. Doesn't really do anything. But they held. He charges me here, and I flee again because I'm already fleeing, and that's just where he ends up. I think that might have been a double flee if his horseman could have charged. I can't quite remember. He's just ignoring my lone wolf there. Unfortunately, the shooting doesn't really do anything. There's not a lot of people to actually shoot at who aren't toughness like 1,000. I land a bunch of wounds on rank and file, and I don't take the last wound. They couldn't sink one on me, which is pretty fantastic. And I crumble them more, but it's too little too late. My gobos end up actually fleeing, getting away. One of the War Kitty tries to pursue, can't catch him, just ends up there. And the Flying Sphinx turns around to face my Ragnarok for next round. And we go into my turn, and as you can see, I fail to rally on these guys. They run off the board. So this is kind of a picture just at the end. You know, I'm not sure how much more my savages at about 10 strong. I still would have had all my attacks. I don't think I could have crumbled all those skeletons. He wasn't, like, challenging. I probably could have racked up quite a bit more combat res, but I don't think I could have gotten in. I would have gotten bonus points if I killed that big unit, though. But the Arachnarok held his ground quite a bit. I don't know. It was definitely a bonehead move on my part not to remember Frenzy was immune to panic. And to run. I don't make these mistakes in the rest of the tournament, so this is definitely my bad game. In fact, you'll see I do pretty well in the next 2 games. But on this one, it was just a stunning loss. So you got 3 points for a loss, 9 points for a victory, and then he had 1 of the extra points, I think, to 2. He had to keep his biggest core unit alive and then kill my biggest core unit, and he did. He fled it off the table. So I might have been able to pull through with the Savages and run through and change it. I don't think I had anything to deal with those big toughness 8 Sphinxes. My Doom Divers just aren't strong enough, and neither are the Spear Chuckas. But yeah, he was a really good opponent. And, you know, normally I thought I'd be pretty sour fighting a gun line like that and being on the diagonal. But, I mean, we were laughing about it, and, you know, John's a great guy. In fact, he gave me his favorite opponent because he was laughing about how well we took all the shots. I mean, it was just painful. We were having a good time. And he brought cookies, which is pretty fantastic. So thanks for the good game, John, and stay tuned for the game 2.